the change in my life after I deleted my Twitter account was so enormous. I'm amazed at what Twitter did to me. I mean, even with all of my training and all, with my head screwed on reasonably straight. I mean, it's amazing to say it, but almost all of the truly bad things that have happened to me in the last decade that just really just destabilized relationships and just priorities, and really kind of got plowed back into me. It became a kind of professional emergency, stuff I had to respond to, in writing or on podcasts. It was all Twitter. Right? It was my engagement with Twitter was the thing that produced the chaos, and it was completely unnecessary. And it was amplifying a kind of signal for me that I felt compelled to pay attention to because I was on it, and I was trying to communicate with people on it. I was getting certain communication back, and it was giving me a picture of the rest of humanity, which I now think is fundamentally misleading. But it was still consequential in its, even believing that it was, at a certain point, believing that it was misleading wasn't enough to inoculate me against the delusion of the opinion change that was being forced upon me. And I was feeling like, okay, these people are becoming unrecognizable. I know some of these people. I've had dinner with some of these people, and their behavior on Twitter is appearing so deranged to me and so in such bad faith. That people people who I know to be non-psychopaths are starting to behave like psychopaths, at least on Twitter. And I'm becoming similarly unrecognizable to them. That it's just, again, it all felt like a psychological experiment to which I hadn't consented, in which I enrolled myself somehow because it was what everyone was doing in 2009. I mean, it's embarrassing to admit it. I mean, it's like getting out of a bad relationship. I mean, it was a fundamental, just freedom from this chaos monster that was always there, ready to disrupt something based on its own dynamics. And
when did you delete it?
Like December. I think it was December.
I would, and I'm not someone that really takes sides on things. I like to try and remain in the middle. I think politically,
so you must have a very different Twitter experience than I was having.
No. So I don't tweet anything other than this podcast trailer. I don't tweet anything else.
Right. Okay.
So the only thing you'll see on my Twitter is the podcast trailer. That's it.
Yeah.
And for all the reasons you've described, and more interestingly, I wanted to say in the last 8 months, as someone that doesn't get caught up too much in the media. Oh, Elon bought this. It's 100% gone in that direction. As in, my timeline now is, I say it to my friends all the time, and some of my friends who, again, I think are nuanced and balanced, have said to me, there's something that's been turned up in the algorithm to increase engagement that has planted me in an unpleasant echo chamber that I didn't desire to be in. And if I wasn't somewhat conscious, I would 100% be in there. My timeline, my friend tweeted the other day, my friend Cahill tweeted, he's never seen more people die on his Twitter timeline than he has in the last 6 months. They're prioritizing video, so you're seeing a lot of death and CCTV footage that I've never seen before. And then the debate around gender, politics, right-leaning subject matter has never been more right down your throat.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like something in the algorithm has been switched, where it's now like people have been let out the asylum. That's the only way I can describe it. And it's made me retract even more. So when Zuckerberg announced Threads the other couple of weeks ago, it was kind of like a life raft out of the Titanic. And I really, really mean that. And I'm not someone to get easily caught up in narrative, as it relates to social media platforms. It's been my industry for a decade. But what I've seen on Twitter, and it's actually made me believe this hypothesis I had 5 years ago, where I thought there would be, I thought the journey of social networking would have way more social networks and they'd be more siloed. I thought we'd have one for our neighborhood, our football club, and now I believe that even more than ever.
Yeah, that seems right. And I think it's whether it's possible to have a truly healthy social network that people want to be in, and they have good reason to be there, and I don't know if that's possible. I'd like to think it is, but it's. I think there are certain things you have to clean up at the outset that so as to make it possible. I mean, I think anonymity is a bad thing. I think probably being free is a bad thing. I think you sort of get what you pay for online, and if it's I just think there might be ways to set it up that where it would be better, but
I don't think it would be popular.
What was that?
I think with the thing that makes it popular makes it toxic.
Right.
And even the anonymity piece, I've played this out a couple of times in my mind, and the rebuttal I always get is, well, there's people in Syria who have news to break, important news to break, and they'd be hung if they. So we need a anonymous version of the social internet.
Right. Yeah. Well, I guess there could be some exception there, but I don't know. It just doesn't. It actually doesn't interest me because I just feel such a different sense of my being in the world as a result of not paying attention to my online simulacrum of myself. It's a because so Twitter was the only one I used. Like I've been on Facebook this whole time. I've been on I guess I'm on Instagram too. But like my team just uses those as marketing channels. It's just like you. It sounds like that's the way you use Twitter now. But Twitter was the one that I decided, okay, this is going to be me. I'm going to be posting here. I'm going to, if I've made a mistake, I want to hear about it. It's like, and I just wanted to use it as an actual basis for communication. And for the longest time, it actually felt like a valid tool in that respect. It reached a crisis point. I decided this is just pure toxicity. There's just no reason. Even the good stuff can't possibly make a dent in the bad stuff. So I just deleted it. And then I was returned to the real world, right, where I actually live, and to books, and to, I'm online all the time anyway, but it's not having it's the time course of reactivity when you don't have social media, and you don't have a place to put this instantaneous hot take that you're tempted to put out into the world, because there's literally no place to put it. For me, if I have some reaction to something in the news, I have to decide whether it's worth talking about it in my next podcast that I might be recording, 4 days from now. And rather often people have been just bloviating about this thing for 4 solid days before I ever get to the microphone. And then I get to think, well, is it still worth talking about? And almost nothing survives that test anymore, right? It's like the conversation's moved on. So there's actually no place for me to just type this thing that takes me 10 seconds and then rolls out there to detonate in the minds of my friends and enemies to opposite effect, and then I see the result of all that, on this sort of reinforcement loop of every 15 minutes. Not having that is such a relief that I just don't even know why I would. So like when Threads was announced, I wasn't. I think I'm on Threads too, but it's not me. It's just yet another marketing channel. But yeah, I haven't. I feel such relief not exercising that muscle anymore, where it's like I don't know how often I was checking Twitter, but I was not checking it just to see what was happening to me or what the response to my last thing I tweeted. I was checking it a lot because it was my news feed. It's like I'm following 200 smart people. They're telling me what they're paying attention to. And so I'm fascinated. So I want to see that next article or that next video. Just that engagement and the endless opportunity to comment and to put my foot in my mouth or put my foot in someone else's mouth or have someone put their foot. It's just not having that has been such a relief that I would be, it's not impossible, but I would be very cautious in reactivating that because it was so much noise. And again, it created, there's so much, it became it became an opportunity cost, but it became this endless opportunity for misunderstanding, but especially misunderstanding of me and everything I've been putting out into the world, and then my sense that I had to react to it, and then you just kind of plow that back into that becomes the basis for further misunderstanding. And it constantly was giving me the sense that there's something I need to react to on my podcast, in an article, on Twitter, that it's just, this is a valid signal. Like this is a 5-alarm fire. This is like, you got to stop everything. Like, you're by the pool on the one vacation you're taking with your family that summer, and this thing just happened on your phone that like it can't wait, right? Like, you actually have to pay attention, because it's like the conversation is happening right now. And so it was a kind of addiction to information and, on some level, reputation management and it was just, to just be free of it is, it's such a relief. Apart from health issues with certain family members, virtually the only bad things that have happened to me have been a result of my engagement with Twitter over the last 10 years. So it's just, I guess if I'm a masochist, I would be back on Twitter, but that would be the only reason to do it.
If you love the Diary of a CEO brand and you watch this channel, please do me a huge favor. Become part of the 15% of the viewers on this channel that have hit the subscribe button. It helps us tremendously, and the bigger the channel gets, the bigger the guests.